Okay. Coming out of closed session, we will now be in open session, and in closed session, it was more informational than it was decision-making. So I don't think we made a decision except to tell our manager to do what he's doing. So, am I correct in that? Okay. All right, moving on down our agenda in the open session, the county manager's report.
The first thing is on at the next meeting, you'll see this piece of paper right here that I provided earlier. This is a declaration of official intent to reimburse, and I just wanted to explain it a little bit before you voted on it, or it was on the agenda for next month. And I think it may be in the single packets over here, maybe, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Maybe, yeah. Has a county seal on it.
That's the county seal.
Thank you, right here. Underneath.
Here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you guys very much.
So, last January, I think you approved the vehicles for the sheriff's office and for EMS. We went through that process. And so, we always file an intent to reimburse, so we're going to do this like in July, just in case the vehicles come in before we get financing. It gives us the authority to do it. If we don't have one of these on file with the bank that we get the note from, they will not let us pay back ourselves for the vehicles. So this just protects us a little bit where we don't get caught up between financing and when the vehicles come in. So anyway, that'll be on the agenda for next month, and it is it'll say in there for 1.2 million, and that's total. That includes the sheriff's office vehicles and I think one EMS ambulance is what's a part of that package. Any questions about that? Okay, so that will be on the agenda for a vote. And I think you received a letter from the Department of Justice. I think you'll probably want to talk about it. This kind of talks about it, or I wanted to talk about it as well. So we're going to be getting some opioid funding. I filed the reporting package, I guess about 2 weeks ago. We should have it by the end of the month, the first round of money. There's going to be around $200,000 that we're going to try to put in a reserve fund to be used only for opioid addiction. And so with that, Allison Cocker and I have been talking about how to engage the community and how to spend this money. And so we wrote a grant to the Dogwood Trust, who was soliciting grants for this process. We were awarded, and I think we're awarded $150,000 for the first 2 years. This will pay for a facilitator to do like a strategic planning session on how the county should or what programs are available for opioid addiction and how the community can get involved. And so we'll be looking at that and bringing more to you. I just want to let you know we are going to be receiving a grant from Dogwood Trust and should be getting that probably within the next 30 days, at least half of it. And then we'll look at hiring a facilitator and that sort of thing. So, and it kind of was ironic that the Department of Justice was talking about the opioid, settlement at the same time. So, let's see.
Matt, that's a question.
Sure.
You said $200K would be the first payment. How often are those payments going to be coming in? They're going to be a regular?
Once a year.
Will it be about that same amount of money? Or?
It's sporadic. I think we have 2 payments this year, one for like 65, and I'm wanting to say like one for 150 something.
I think it's on the back on this chart.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Is that Swain County specific?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a payment table on the back of this.
Yeah, I know there was 2 payments this time, but you had to file, and there's a third party you had to go through. So I filled out that paperwork about 2 weeks ago to get ours, and so it'll be coming in here. They want it by June 30th, so we'll have it coming to us by June 30th. So, but it'll be over, I think, 12 years or 12 or 13 years, and it's a total of 1.8 million over that span.
Till 2038.
1.8
over the
million.
next
1.8 million,
Yeah.
12 years.
Yeah.
18.
Is it 18?
Yeah.
Okay, they may have increased it.
18 years.
So it's gonna average 100 grand a year. I have not seen that doctor, and I knew it was an opioid.
Yeah,
That's fine.
You want it?
I'll get a copy. I'll get a copy. So. Anyway, it would be good, it's gonna be good to engage everybody on especially the people that are stakeholders that are part of programs. So. I think at the last work session, we had a discussion about river cleanup and who
Yeah.
did it and that sort of thing. I wanted to follow back up with that. We've got a crew going down on July the 5th. That's when river cleanup's gonna be. We've got trucks and track codes, and I think they've lined up the tub grinder with Cherokee, I believe. So I've got our crew, we've got a crew going down, and they're gonna help that day. So I think it's gonna be turning into a pretty big event, and we're just gonna be able to partner in that for that day. So just wanna let you know that we are participating. We did have a boom too, so we have a boom that will actually bring the trash in.
oh, wow.
So we've got, I think a couple of our employees are bringing their boats, so we're gonna give them some allocation for that, so. There was another piece on there, and it'll look like a brochure.
Yeah,
It says
that's
Hope
just what I
Springs.
was,
They have asked for a donation of $500. And we have never given any money to a religious organization in my career, and normally you don't kind of mix local government and religious organizations, so. Just want to bring it in front of you just to, my recommendation would be not to give it, because then you'd have pretty much every church asking for $500, so. And I know it's a good program, but still it is religious. I mean, just by the brochure, you can tell that it's Christian based, so.
have
Anyway.
you personally talked to anyone from this organization?
Well, Kay McConnell, who is a board member of that, has called me, and we've talked. She was talking about the opioid monies, and I think that's probably what she wanted it to come out of. But even with the opioid money, you have to be kind of specific on mixing religious organizations with that mission and public funds, for mental health services, basically. So I don't know what kind of mental health services they offer. It's probably faith-based rather than secular,
Right.
as far as in nature, and it kind of gets it's a very gray area on doing that. So we kind of have to proceed with caution. So that's why I think we can tell them at this time, let us get through this planning process, and then if during that process there's mechanisms to do that might be a good segue.
But we have a way for them to ask us for money.
Correct.
And if they follow that, we'll take a look at it. But if
Yeah.
they don't follow that, we won't.
Right. So anyway, I just wanted to bring that to you, and the only other thing I have is I'm still waiting on feedback from Swain Memorial Park. Right now, if we get any complaints, we've been sending them straight to the cemetery commission. So, as far as mowing or anything else, so we're still in holding patterns at this point. But did want to mention that again, that we've not dropped that ball. We're just waiting on information, and
No decisions have been made, like from legal.
no.
That seems like at one point we were waiting on a decision from judges and.
They're wanting, I know, they're wanting us to take it over, of course, but they're also wanting us to allow a certain portion of that permanent fund to be paid to the person that took the property to begin with. And so it's really just convoluted the way that they're going about doing that, so. But at this point, we basically have said no, and so we've not heard back anything from them. So, but I'll let you know as quick as somebody calls me.
Well, I think Kenneth and I went up and met with CRISP, some of the people at CRISP talking about this.
Mm-hmm.
And they recommended we speak with someone in Asheville who's supposedly had gone through this, but I never found out who that was, so we haven't done anything beyond that.
So we'll just, we'll try to keep being informed about it. So. And that's all I have.
Wow, that's quick. Okay, Commissioner Burns, got anything for us today?
Had a broadband meeting Tuesday night. It's the only thing, the library canceled their meeting for the month. The great grants will are supposed to be announced next month. We could receive up to about $8 million on that. Frontier, Zito, and Balsam West have all have grant applications in, I think. There's the CAB grant is coming up, but that's going to be later on. That'll be the one that the county it's going to be a lot of money in those, but it will be quite a bit of money to match some of those. One of the things, Starlink, we had the free, I think it was 30 families in the west got it, and then they did some in the east. That expires at the end of July. And she said about a third of the families will pay their own, which that costs about $100 a month to keep it. So, but the rest will lose that. They're working right now trying to get some federal funds for that, to try to keep that going. But that is set to expire at the end of July. That's about it. Most of it just kind of hurry up and wait on hearing from these applications. But Leonard is pretty assured that the great grant, that we'll get at least the $4 million, possibly the $8 million. Like I say, that's we have the 3 providers, but a lot of people right now are kind of put out with all of them, to say the least. There's been a lot of people dissatisfied with Balsam West since they took over Skyway. It kind of seems like the service has gone down quite a bit. So, but anyway, a lot of discussion about that.
So what is James doing these days?
He's working for them, but he's not in charge. I think the way it's explained to Adam, the guy that was working for him, is actually over him at Balsam West.
Oh, really?
That's what I think is the way they explained it. But I think he was, part of the deal was that he stays on a couple of years with them or something. There's a time frame he has to work with them, but he's just an employee there, so.
And you say Leonard has high hopes.
He's pretty confident that he says it's pretty much a given that we'll get at least the $4 million, and possibly would get the $8 million from the great grant.
Now, is that, do we have to provide matching funds?
No, that's not matching.
Okay.
Some of it, I think we have agreed with the providers, the 50,000 that we had to
Right.
do like 15,000 to one, 15 to the other out of that from the broadband committee to help them with some of their fees on the applications and things, but that's not matching. It's not matching dollars. They have to match some of it. I'm saying, they'll have to match it. The providers will, but.
Have you heard anything else from Leonard and Julie about making a presentation to us?
No, they had talked about doing that, and I can.
If you would follow up on that.
Follow up and make sure that they.
Yeah. Just
I think they were kind of waiting to try to wait until after this announcement of the great grant, so they have some really good news to come and bring.
Good. Okay. Well, we hope they come in with good news for sure. So, okay.
That's all.
All right. Mr. Siegel?
I did get by the pool, and I talked to him up there. Kevin went here, we talking. The pool is operating every
Oh,
day,
okay.
so people can come to the pool. There was a schedule that was given to me. I don't think it was the right schedule, so we posted a new schedule. Is the right schedule. So I did talk to Kevin, or I talked to the pool guys up there, so I think we're good to go. Right.
Okay, and you said they had a new schedule?
Yes, yeah, it was a little revised schedule. I think that schedule, the first one was kind of like from the COVID kind of schedule, so part of it was anyway, so.
Would you talk to Jim and get all of the commissioners the new schedule?
I can send that to you, I've got it.
Oh, okay, great, good.
Let's see. Also, these are just topics. This ain't something I've done. I just wanted to find out. Did anybody receive an email from Mike Cleppett about fire department stuff?
A meeting?
Yeah,
About what?
fire department meeting, a meeting with,
July the 23rd is requesting a meeting with the commissioners in the town, and he's asked Highway Patrol, the Board of Aldermen, the chiefs of all the departments, the Bryson City Police.
I didn't
Chief.
get the email, but somebody forwarded it to me.
Well, I
Well, I
don't
think it was
recall
forwarded,
seeing it
but-
either.
Yeah,
so.
It went to 24.
okay.
That came in today.
Yeah.
I didn't get it. Listen, I don't know how to get my spam on it. You said
We were supposed to have, he'd sent out one, I think it was gonna be in June, I think it was June 17th,
Right.
and nobody responded to him. And then, now he's asking for July 23rd.
It's like from 1 to 4 o'clock, here at the, I guess here in this room.
Yeah, he's called Cindy and asked if he could use the room for that day.
So I was just gonna bring that up, cause I didn't know, and I figured somebody else might not know either. I did have a couple complaints about the insurance. I was gonna ask Kevin about this. There's a crazy deductible on that insurance, like $8,000 deductible. So if you get hurt, you gotta get hurt really bad. So,
It is a catastrophic insurance policy.
Okay.
It's just, unfortunately, we couldn't get quoted. It was hard this year, very hard, so.
if someone can get quoted for a cheaper insurance, can they opt out of this? Or they can't. That's what I thought. I was not sure, but I was thinking.
See, and I've explained this to several employees, because they've got, they're upset about it. But now, I will say, we have a leveling, so, and what that means is, even though you got a family, if an employee has a catastrophic illness or an illness, or whatever, they only have to meet a single deduction. Anything above 4,000, which is the other one, they can submit it to us, and we'll pay them, reimburse them up to date if it's their claims. And that evens the playing field for an employee. Now, the family dependents, that's just on them. But it is catastrophic, and it is, and unfortunately, it's a bad situation. We have, we've had a couple bad years of claims. Insurance people know that. They see our statistics. They base that on our claim history. So that these 230 lives plus another 100 in dependents, so you're talking about 350 lives. They quoted on the statistics of, your illnesses, and so that's where they come up with the rates at. And so unfortunately, we've had a couple bad years as a group. But if you take out one single individual, they may can go get insurance somewhere else. But all that's going to do is, one, it'll hurt the group. Two, I don't know if you go to the market and you have employer-sponsored insurance, I don't know if they would even allow you to go.
That's what I don't know. I told them, I don't know insurance. I don't even like insurance, so.
So it's, but after I've explained it in that way, that you're a part of a group, and we can't go out and get a single individual, maybe you're fine, and you can go out and get good insurance, but the employee next to you may not.
Yeah.
And so we have to look at it from that perspective, that we're a whole. And it is a big, I've had several complaints about it. And, I mean, it's a catastrophic insurance.
I probably.
The good thing about it is we're giving them, we're going to give them $1,000 a year that's going to go in that account.
Yeah.
So in the event of a catastrophic, they would have monies hopefully to pay for that high deductible. So, I mean, and we can look at that more next year. It's just, the cost savings piece for the county, it was, well, we were gonna end up spending, I hate to say it this way, about 15 cents of your ad valorem taxes are gonna be paying for insurance, and I just didn't think y'all would like that too much, out of 35, I mean, out of 36, 15 cents. That's kinda unreal to think about,
Yeah.
just for health insurance. So, we did what we had to do, but,
I just wanted to clarify some things,
Yeah.
as far as you can't opt out, because
well, they can, for dependent, not for individual.
not for an individual, but you could opt out for
If they want to go
A
somewhere with their
dependent.
families or whatever, if the market will let them.
I don't know that either, yeah.
And we don't know that answer, and they have to go themselves to do it.
That's all I have, that's just a
Okay.
couple topics.
Mr. Chair, short and sweet, I've had one meeting, since our last meeting. It was on Monday, July 20th at 6, at a Foursquare meeting in Andrews. That's my report, Mr. Chairman.
I'm sticking to it.
You make me miss Kenneth, come on. My report, I have no report. Okay, thank you very much. I don't know if we want to talk about our meeting with the housing group, or a representative from the housing group. And he had some plans and was supposed to get back with us on some ideas so we could share it with everybody. But just trying to find affordable housing for work-related families. I mean, we've got to do something because we're losing people and people not coming in because they can't find housing. And I just got an email from Mark, I don't know, you probably got it too. He was saying he lost someone else today to Jackson County because they couldn't find housing here. So it's a tough issue. And we need to get ahead of it, and even some of the richer counties are behind the 8 ball on this thing. So we're not the only ones in that. If anyone has seen the paper, one of the things that I would like for you to look at is the opinion piece. It gets, I don't know if you've seen it or not, but she gets pretty down to the facts of Mike Clampett's 1057 bill. And I do want to give them a shout out. I give them don't give them a shout out when they don't do anything with it. I thought this was pretty good. At least there's some of it that she was listening to that no one else has. And so I was very pleased with that. So there's other groups, other people that I'm working with that I'm not ready to report out on what they're up to, but we'll get there. So, and that's going to be the end of my report, gentlemen. So,
Do we know where the bill, what's the status of the bill right now?
It's currently in the Finance Committee.
oh yes,
Yeah, and I mean, their session is supposed to end, I think, right after the 4th of July, so it's probably not going to be heard. I would suspect, but I mean,
I have heard that it being in front of the Finance Committee, and even if it's passed out of the Finance Committee, that really doesn't count for much on these bills. They're just trying to see how much they've got, trying to commit themselves to. So that's all it is. It's not an evaluation of the bill itself. So that's what my understanding. Okay, anything else for the good of the order?
Chair, if it's under informal discussion, I just had a thought while you were speaking about the housing, and I kind of just did a brief one line about the Foursquare. But some information we had on Foursquare is the director, new director we have, Dr. Sue Lynn Ledford, has gone around to several, I don't think she's visited Swain County yet, and maybe not Graham, but has visited Cherokee and Clay counties and to realtor associations and was able to beg, plead, anyway, got three more houses that were rentals that they put back into like a long-term housing
They were
situation.
short term?
Well, I don't want to say for sure that they were, but somehow, and that may have been more for HUD housing, but was able to find three more homes for HUD applicants in those two counties. And so I think when we had our conversation, you were referring to it about with our housing, and Mr. Bartlett and Ms. Bartlett were, if there were any realtors willing and could find just a home or two that was on their books, so to speak, that would be allowed, it'd be really nice gesture to be able to, for some in Swain County, maybe to just a home, just a home or two every now and then would help. Like I said, she was able to find three in Cherokee and Clay just by going to realtors and kind of pleading with them to open up a house, or do they not have
Right.
anything that would just maybe fall under HUD guidelines. And so that may not be the housing, that's not all of the housing, but that is
Right.
a part of it.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just want to throw that out, Mr. Chairman. I thought of it as you were speaking, and
Well, I think our housing committee is looking at that and trying to do something in Swain County with some of the realtors here in trying to get something specific and specified with some kind of housing. So we'll just have to wait and see where they come out and come up. Go ahead.
I think some of this is probably gonna fix itself eventually. I may be wrong.
It's going to
But
do
I
what?
know that I think some of this is gonna eventually fix itself.
It's-
Because I know that, and I've talked to several people that are renting nightly, there was a pretty good decrease in nightly rentals in the last 2 months. So there'll be people that will not, they'll turn them back over into monthly rentals. I turned 3 over back into monthly rentals.
Is that a drop in tourism, or what is that, Kevin?
I think we had a really high COVID year. I mean, my COVID years was great.
Right.
It's just people were coming here because they just want to get away from everything, and it's a good place to get away from a lot of things. But I think tourism is always like this.
Yeah.
So I think we're in that lull. It may go back up, and it may go back up this fall. But I think you'll see some of these houses kind of straggle back into long-term rentals. It's just my opinion, but I think some of that's going to ease the burden a little bit.
Right.
New houses are going to go up. It's going to be hard to build. It'd be hard to build a house right now and make it affordable for anybody because of the price of the material. So we got to see that go. And then they just jacked the interest rate up to 0.75% too. So that's going to be hard to get along.
Wow.
So it's a lot of variables, and unfortunately, it hurts us a lot of times more than it does a lot of other people because we don't have the infrastructure and some of the things we need to make it happen. So,
And that can throw us back into the, what we're gonna do in Whittier and everywhere else. I mean, we can get into that just about any time, so. All right, anything else for the good of the order? If there is nothing, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
make a motion to adjourn.
Have a motion on the floor to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second on the floor to adjourn. All in favor, please raise your right hand. And it's passed unanimously by those present.
I wasn't gonna mention, but these are just info.
That's just info, yeah. It's all the ordinances.
Okay.
So we'll start.
Yeah, we got too many.
I think that's been asked for a while.
Cut them in half.
We've been compiling, making sure we got the right one. Cindy did a great job.
I don't know if you will.
The only time Kenneth is not here and we get our,